Somewhere right now, a private jet is being towed off a runway by a repossession crew, the same one its celebrity owner posted 100 selfies in front of. Somewhere else, a far richer person is boarding an identical jet that he does not own and never will. Owning a $60 million jet looks like the ultimate flex. For the people who actually stay rich, it is a rookie mistake. You are about to see why the smartest money on earth pays a fortune to fly private and still refuses to buy the plane. Start with the number that ends the fantasy. A privately owned jet costs somewhere around $6 million a year just to exist. And here's the part nobody posts next to the sunset photos. It costs that, whether you fly it or not. Leave it parked in a hangar for 12 straight months, and it still drains you dry. You are paying full-time pilots on salary and benefits, and on longer trips, you need more than one crew, so it is rarely just two. You cannot legally fly without them, and you cannot ask them to sit around unpaid between your vacations. You are renting a private hangar, which is basically luxury real estate for a machine that mostly sits still. You are insuring tens of millions of dollars of aircraft that moves at the speed of a bullet. And you are locked into a maintenance schedule set by the manufacturer, not by you, where a single deep inspection can cost 7 figures and pull the jet out of the sky for weeks. So before the owner has flown anywhere, before a single meeting or a single beach, the jet has already reached into his pocket and helped itself. People at this level have a word for an asset that behaves like that. A parasite. Something bolted to you, feeding on you, whether or not you get anything back. And the parasite has a second mouth you cannot see yet. Because the whole time it sits there, the jet is quietly losing value. A brand new aircraft can shed a massive chunk of its price the moment it leaves the factory, the same way a new car does the second it rolls off the lot, except the car did not cost $60 million. Owners get told they will win most of that back through depreciation and tax write-offs. On paper, maybe. In reality, once you count how much value the jet bleeds and how little of that loss the tax code lets a private owner actually keep, a lot of solo owners end up recovering something like 63 cents on the dollar. They spent $1 to save 63 cents. Nobody who got rich on purpose runs money like that. So here's the question that should be forming in your head. If the math is this ugly, why fly private at all? Why not turn left, take the free champagne, and book a first-class seat like a normal wealthy person? You might assume the answer is pure ego, and for the celebrity getting his jet towed, sure. But for the genuinely rich, the reason was never the leather seats or the leg room. It was the calendar. Money. They can always make more of. Time is the one thing that never comes back. A private jet turns a 2-day trip into an afternoon. It deletes the security lines, the layovers, the delays, and hands back hours they would otherwise lose forever. They want that speed badly. They just refuse to adopt the parasite that usually comes attached to it. And that exact gap, wanting the time without owning the liability, is where the real money quietly moved. You might guess they solve it with charter flights or one of those jet membership cards. They do not, and the reason why is the whole game. What the smartest money buys instead is called fractional ownership, and once it clicks, owning a whole jet starts to look almost silly. Instead of buying the aircraft, you buy a slice of one, a 16th, an 1/8, a quarter, whatever matches how much you actually fly. A 1/16 share works out to roughly 50 hours in the air a year, and this is not a rental or a punch card. It is a deeded interest in a real jet, an actual piece of property with your name on the title that you can later sell back. And this is not some fringe scheme run out of a strip mall. The biggest name in it, NetJets, is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. Buffett, a man famous for despising any expense that does not earn its keep, looked at the entire private aviation business and decided the smart position was not owning jets to show off. It was selling shares of them to everyone else. When the most quoted investor alive puts his company's name behind renting out fractions instead of owning outright, that tells you which side of this math actually works. And the slice scales cleanly to how you actually live. An eighth is about 100 hours a year, a quarter around 200, so a founder who is in the air every week and a family that flies a handful of times a year can sit inside the same system, each paying only for what they burn. But the plane on the title was never really the product. The product is the network standing behind it. A single share quietly hands you access to the entire fleet, and that access is what makes the next part possible, the part that ends up costing the solo owner more than everything we have covered so far. Here is what that slice quietly deletes from your life. There are no pilots to hire and keep on payroll between trips, no hangar to rent, no seven-figure repair bills landing on your desk, no insurance to fight over. The company handles all of it across a fleet of more than 800 jets, and you simply walk up and fly. You pay for the one thing you actually wanted, the time in the air, and none of the ownership that was bleeding the solo owners dry. If this breakdown of how the ultra-wealthy actually move their money is doing something for you, take 1 second and subscribe. This channel pulls apart the hidden math behind the billionaire lifestyle every single week. Now let's get to the two things that actually close the deal, starting with the one that has nothing to do with price. The feature that truly sells billionaires is availability, and it is the one thing full ownership can never touch. Picture the solo owner whose one and only jet is stuck in a deep maintenance check the exact morning he needs to be across the country. He is grounded. His $60 million asset is a very expensive paperweight sitting in a hangar, and now he is scrambling to charter a plane like everybody else. Now picture the fractional owner in the identical spot. His assigned jet is down. He does not care because he does not fly one plane. He flies the fleet. Another jet peels off from the hundreds available and rolls up to the ramp, often within hours. He never actually waits. That is the whole promise, and for people who treat their time as the scarcest thing they own, that is the entire reason they sign up. That is the convenience side settled. Here is where it turns into a cold money decision. Line the two options up side by side. The solo owner is carrying that roughly $6 million a year in fixed costs, plus the purchase price of the jet, plus the value it loses every year just by existing. The fractional owner pays for his share up front, then pays an hourly rate that already bundles the crew, the fuel, the maintenance, and the management into one clean number. And here is the detail that quietly demolishes the ego argument. Privately owned jets tend to fly far fewer hours than people picture, a couple hundred hours a year at most, and they sit idle the rest of the time. So when you divide the solo owner's true all-in cost by the hours he actually flies, the real price per hour of that lonely $60 million jet often lands higher than simply buying the hours from the fleet. The billionaire is not buying a slice because he cannot afford the whole plane. He is buying it because, hour for hour in the sky, it is frequently the cheaper move. The celebrity with the towed jet never ran that number. And when the relationship ends, the two owners walk out into completely different worlds. The solo owner has to find a buyer for a used $60 million jet in a thin, picky market, swallowing whatever the depreciation already carved out of it. The fractional owner has a contract with a defined buyback baked in from day one. When his hours run out or his life changes, he hands the slice back on pre-agreed terms and moves on. The solo owner does not get that exit. He is stuck holding an asset that shrinks by the month, waiting on a buyer who may never call. There is one more edge that matters if the flying is for business, and it comes straight from the taxman. When a company runs its own private flight department, mixing corporate trips and the occasional personal getaway on the same jet, it invites exactly the audit questions nobody wants to answer. Who was on that flight, and why? And was it really business? A fractional share, billed at a clean hourly rate against documented business travel, is far easier to defend on a return. It reads as a tidier deduction with fewer red flags waving at an auditor, and at this altitude of wealth, tidy is worth serious money. So step back and look at what actually separated the two people we started with. The celebrity bought the whole $60 million jet, got the photos, got the flex, and got the parasite that towed away with it. The other one bought hours in the sky and walked away owning none of the headache, keeping both his time and his balance sheet intact. Owning a jet is about ego. Fractional ownership is about economics. The people who stay rich are just very good at spotting when an expensive thing is quietly working against them. So here's the part actually worth arguing about. If it were your money on the line, would you buy the whole plane and inherit the $6 million headache that flies with it? Or would you buy only the hours you need and let someone else own the problem? Put it in the comments, because this is the one that splits the room every time.